Good, Jen? Yep. Okay. All right, let's call to order the Board of Library Trustees for Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bella? Here. Trustee Meadow?
Here.
Trustee Rule is absent. Trustee Smart is absent. Trustee Samari?
Here.
Trustee Suplet?
Here.
President Zip?
Here. I guess we need to actually make a motion here to officially, since John is on Zoom, he's gone away and work, to officially allow him to come into the meeting. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Gonna do something stupid, but that's okay. Should we go on to public comments? Public comments.
Yeah, ask the village, if they can keep their Novus agenda system, for your agendas, minutes, and supporting documentation. And also ask the Arlington Heights Park District and the Chapter of Theater to use it as well, so we can look at financial information. And the senior center library area, consider consolidating with this place. Use the teen center for the old people's area by day, and by late afternoon, evening, it could be the teen center. And that way we can consolidate from the senior center. I was there a few days ago, and it really didn't look like very many people were there. And they are working on remodeling the place, or possibly moving out, so you can get a head start on that. And also, look at consolidating your game section. We have a display of games that are bound by rubber. And then in the little kids area, we have these that, old people would probably like to play too. So there's really no standardized way to display the games. So use some time and try to work out a better way to display your games. My mom and I really enjoy checking them out, learning how to play them, and things like that.
Okay, let's move on to the liaison report. Friends.
Well, they go over the so I'm going to read. Can everybody hear me? I just talk with next time. The FOL board wants to congratulate you on the opening of the Makerspace. It's been a vision of the library for a long time, and we're happy to be a part of it. All the board members that attended the early preview for us had rave reviews, and we agreed that you guys deserve a 6-star this year. So we had a very successful summer in sales and membership. We approved the 5,000 for the One Book Village. So coming up, we have a kid sale this weekend, which hopefully will complete our production and inventory for the kids sale, or kids inventory books. We have a regular sale coming up in November, so we will get a whole weekend of sale. COVID days off. And then we have a lobby sale in December as well.
Thanks. So thank you. And thank you, obviously, there's a lot, but never hurts saying, and thanks for everything the friends do, getting us to that spot. It's awesome. Still going on this weekend?
Yes. Saturday, then we'll have a book sale or a bag sale at the end.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks a lot. All right, the foundation.
So thanks for sharing with our donors and the opening. Everyone really loved it. Our Friday night event, we had 76 of our 80 responses. It's kind of a wet evening, turned out a little bit wet. Some of us thought Dave Plus were demolished, but people, as we heard all weekend, were just amazed. So thanks for letting us be a part of that project. As we look at our original agreement with you 3 years ago, we agreed to sign off on $150,000 to outfit the commercial kitchen. And through the generosity of our donors, we were able to, at this point, we put $139,000 in cash and $141,000 plus in discounts and in-kind donations, making our donations thus far for the commercial kitchen, art space, and the sewing area $280,000. We're currently developing our next annual appeal to support, we think, some visual aid, so I might get an update on that this week. Due to I was talking to Greg, due to what our experience was last year with the US Postal Service, 50% of our annual appeals either returned to us or never reached their intended target. So we're gonna take a little bit different tack this year, we're gonna do 50-50. I met today with our facilitator for our first scholarship task force meeting, which is scheduled on Monday, the 27th. And joining us on that task force is Dr. Laz Lopez, Associate Superintendent of Instruction with High School District 214, John Hardnett, ITW Welding Unit, Ed Bales, previous founding member of the Motorola University, and he will be our initial facilitator, and then 3 representatives from the foundation. Gary LePlong, our treasurer, Amy Cooper, our attorney, and myself. And so we're initially looking forward to developing a scholarship program to fund High School District 214 students that need some financial assistance as they explore further education through trade schools that maybe can come back to town, utilizing our Makerspace and keeping that talent local. We've had a family reach out to us that had a loss in their family. Their son was a maker, and they're holding a special fundraiser in his honor the 3rd of October with all funds going to the Makerspace. Any questions? Suggestions, comments?
That's fantastic. I mean, obviously, you know, that big number. I remember when we first talked about that, the 150,000, that was quite an amount.
We didn't even have a bank account.
We didn't have a bank account then. We didn't have any, you guys didn't have anything. And building that from scratch, you know, what we did, as you did, Lori, is incredible, and great, and awesome. So
It's been a great project.
yeah.
It's been a great project. So if I could ask your indulgence, I'd like to leave the meeting early. We've had an unfortunate death in the family, and I'd like to be around for my kids to see me, but I'll see some of you in the morning.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question. When you say 50% male or half male, half other, what does that mean?
So we have a list of donors who have given each year that we've requested, that's now 2 years. We have a list of other people that we all know on a database that we're mailed to that have not responded positively.
Right.
We're hoping with some of the hype of the Makerspace that they can now understand what it is, that some of that will come to fruition. So we're going to do our current donors with an email and photos, and then we'll do the others with the mailing and just keep our fingers crossed.
Got it. Thank
And then
you.
those folks that don't respond, they'll get dropped. You know,
Got
3
it.
years is enough.
Got it.
Good question. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Lori, and our condolences.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to action item 1, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of August 17th, 2021. Do we have a motion for approval?
I motion that the board meetings from August 17th, 2021 be approved as written.
Second? Second, okay. Any comments, corrections, anything? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So let's move on to item 2 then, review of the financial reports for the period ended August 31st, 2021.
Okay, we did not receive real estate tax receipts in the month of August. Property tax bills will be issued in August with a due date of October. Typically, tax bills are mailed in June and are due in August. Revenue collection times have shifted, but we expect to still receive approximately 99% of our budgeted tax revenue in 2021. We received PPRT funding in the amount of $3,818.02 in August. Our copier printer revenue totaled $3,176.29. Our collection fees was $80. Lost item charges totaled $1,244.66. Our August interest was $146.66 in our operating budget and $173.64 in our capital budget. Our donations totaled $4,017.60. Our friends had no reimbursements for this month, and our foundation had no reimbursements for this month. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $244, and so the total revenue collected in August was $13,439.03. On the expense side, 67% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expensed 58% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $1,301,976. Construction is
almost complete at the Makerspace. Our total expense to date in 2021 is $934,372. And 45% of the total annual capital budget has been spent. And obviously those bills are coming in from contractors, so you'll just continue to see that number come up pretty rapidly.
So we were at, well, you got your 930,902 on the dashboard. But we budgeted 104, 1,041,000. We got about 110,000, 111,000. Can you always take it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I think that's what the remaining coming in is going to be.
It should be about right.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, so our total capital is 1,041,000 of that is Makerspace. So yeah.
Very good.
Hey, Greg, if I may.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the capital projects on the dashboard, I gotta give a lot of credit to the team at AHML, on the leadership team, because when you look at the status of the bid accepted and construction in progress and the percents, you know, with one exception of the roof rail, which we understand was a safety issue, none of them have exceeded their budgeted amount in expense to date.
Thank you, John. And just a note on that roof rail, the bid on that, I think, or the estimate on that, I think was over $10,000. And we decided to purchase and place that ourselves. So that, you know, we estimated that at $5,023, came in slightly.
Yeah, thank you.
The original bid amount was.
I think you just said it's good as any. What about the Miller picking unit?
So the Miller picking unit, we have been notified that there's some delay in the construction of the unit due to supply chain issues. So they were saying January now for the installation of that, which we can't do that in January because we can't take down our HVAC system in that cold weather for a third of the bill. So that's why we were planning this for fall. We are in discussion with our engineer and manufacturer to see what can be done, either to move it up or we'll have to shift it to spring if they can't come up with it sooner.
When you're saying fall, you're talking about fall still of this year.
Right.
That was the original. It was supposed to be about now we're starting, right?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. We don't want to do that in January. We don't want to shut down the building.
Yeah, so we'll determine the revised date for that and come back with any implications for budget or obviously timelines, but we'll keep you posted.
That's very good, thank you. Anybody else, any more comments or questions for Mike on the financial report? Okay, we're gonna go to action item 3 then, review of the check register for the period ended August 31st, 2021.
Okay, I have a few checks to highlight. Well, first and foremost, you have a new cover letter for the check register. Did you all receive that? Somebody made a
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I have a whole pile of
Oh, you wanna pass them around?
Yeah, were they supposed to go to, is the correction? From what we have? Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about the email.
Yeah, it's the same thing as in the.
Same thing as in the email.
You want a physical one?
Yeah, please. I mean, do you need one?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna highlight a few checks here on page 1. Check 82299, Opto International, in the amount of $499.15. That is for shelving baskets for our accessibility collection in Kids World. We're moving some stuff around and going to create a new accessibility collection, and this is the new shelving for that. This is the $499.15 is a 50% deposit. That same page, check 82199, American Library Association, in the amount of $199. That is for the ALA annual membership renewal for trustee Debbie Smart. On page 2, check 82336 to Williams Associates Architects in the amount of $2,970.07. That is architectural fees for the Kids World Refresh project. That is design development for the 2022 project that Andy will be talking about a little bit later this evening. Then on page 3, check 82215, Authors Unbound Agency in the amount of $5,000. That is for our OBOV author event on October 21st. That is final payment, and that one, I believe, is going to be reimbursed by the Friends of the Library. Page 5, check 82291, M&J Technologies in the amount of $1,847.40. That is for Adobe Creative Suite licenses for the Makerspace public computers.
Not lice, hopefully.
Not license, no, not licenses, sorry.
I saw that.
We don't want lice in the library.
No. Let's see, page 6, check 82242, DeFranco Plumbing in the amount of $4,190. That is to repair some cracked sewer mains on the main library. Then skipping all the way to page 22, check 82232 for Chadwick Contracting Company. There's let's see, 2 amounts listed.
Yes.
$81,383.17 and $4,283.33. That's for paving at the Maker Place. That's the parking lot. That is 100% complete. On page 23, check 82269 to JV Metalworks in the amount of $2,200. That is for the interior railing for the Makerspace that they've completed for us and will be installed probably this week. That's at the main entrance. On that same page, check 82277 and 82278 to Kruger International in the amount of $12,729.75. That is for Maker Place furniture, including the cafe tables, the cubbies for equipment storage, and the chairs throughout the Makerspace. And on that same page, check 82282 to Library Furniture International in the amount of $41,641. That is also for Maker Place furniture, including the tables in both Flex 1 and Flex 2, among other areas. That was all I had for the check register, but if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to try to address them now.
Greg, can I give a quick one?
Let me just ask one real quick one too, and then I'll go to you, John, okay?
All right.
I just want to check on that thing for Williams, and knowing not disputing, don't get nervous. No, it says description, July construction engineering, you're saying that's for Kids World? Is that, I'm just curious, is that the right description?
I about that.
Okay. 2336.
Yeah, let me verify that. I'll ensure that that's the correct.
Okay.
Is Flex 1 upstairs and Flex 2 downstairs
No, Flex 1 is when you first walk in, it's
Okay.
in Makerspace. Flex 2 is to the right. That's
with the
kind of
library
the
case
program.
or with the bookcases?
That description is the construction and engineering work that was done in July was billed out in August for the Kids World project. So that is the correct description.
Okay, sorry, John, you go.
Yeah, on page 23, Mike, checks 82271, 82272, Jensen Plumbing and Heating. You had a couple of hits of $15,000 plus there.
Yes, those are, that is for the Makerspace. I don't know specifically what was included in there, but I can report.
Okay, that's Makerspace, but okay, thank you.
We always call it Maker Place or Maker Space. I feel like
Yeah, we should start calling it Maker Place. You're right.
It's interchangeable. Maker Place is our specific, Maker Space is a generic term.
But we're Maker Place.
Our Maker Place.
One's in noun, one's a proper
Yeah,
noun.
it's like Kleenex and facial tissue.
There you go.
Just say, wow.
Is there anything on here that indicates whether that expense is for the Maker Place or not?
Yes, let's see, the division is Maker Place. So if you look at page 22, you see where it says Maker Place.
Oh, it's
everything.
So that is everything for Maker Place.
Right, anything in that division is Maker Place.
Gotcha.
And 6480 is the account code there in that division line.
And 6480 is the count, okay, good. I knew there had to be something. Good. Any more questions, comments on that? Okay. Let me see, this is the right one, right? So now I just kind of think. So we need a motion for approval for the check register of the amount of $1,227,902.
I'll make a motion for the accounts payable check register of the library for August 31st, 2021 in the amount of $2,222,837.01.
And make a correction to that. There's actually been a correction. The amount now is $1,200,902.37.
I withdraw my motion. Greg, why don't you have somebody else make it so I don't have the number?
I make a motion to approve the check register in the amount dispersed of $1,227,902.37.
Now do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Dalla,
Yes.
trustee Meadow.
Yes.
Trustee Samari,
Yes.
trustee Sucker,
Aye.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. We are now going to the executive director's report.
Okay, take a look at the executive director's report. I'll highlight a few things from this. First of all, on page 1, on August 23rd, the library officially launched the annual One Book, One Village OBOV selection of Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by author Robin Wall Kimmerer. The OBOV committee planned a variety of programs, discussions, outreach, and online resources around the book. You can visit our website for information about the book and our extensive slate of programs. And thank you to Cindy and Megan for presenting at the village board last night. They did a great job.
Very good. Very good.
On the next page, I want to mention that our circulation department made a long-awaited transition to an updated point of sale system. Our senior accountant, Susan Beckman, and our finance clerk, Liz Shiner, provided training to supervisors and staff. The transition to Square was smooth and streamlined, and the new system makes ringing transactions, opening and closing procedures, and issuing refunds much more efficient for staff and customers. On the same page at the bottom, our under backstretch, the library ended an amazing summer with great memories at the Arlington Heights Race Course. The bookmobile created 81 library cards and checked out 952 items. Although the future of backstretch is uncertain, the library is ready to continue to provide the service it needed in 2022. On the next page, our St. Viator educator cards are go. So circulation assistants, Andrea Bernardi, Megan Goss, Rikshana Azim, and Mary Weber worked together on creating educator cards for staff at St. Viator High School. In total, 78 cards were issued for the 2021-2022 school year. This is the first year St. Viator has partnered with the library for educator cards, and that was the agreement that we had approved a few months ago. Okay, the next page, an evening with authors Megan Miranda and Sherry Lapina. In partnership with 11 local libraries, New York Times bestselling authors Megan Miranda and Sherry Lapina discussed their new books with author New York Times bestseller, with another New York Times bestselling author, and the evening's moderator, Mary Kubika. Megan Miranda, author of Such a Quiet Place, and Sherry Lapina, author of Not a Happy Family, discussed their writing process and what inspired them to become authors. 270 participants logged on to Zoom for a fascinating discussion with 44 Arlington Heights Memorial Library residents in the virtual crowd. Info Services Advisor Sherry Tater and Programs Exhibit Supervisor Megan Young helped coordinate the multiple library partnership for the 3-author discussion. This program was recorded and is available on demand through the Highland Park YouTube channel, Highland Park Library's YouTube channel. And on that same page at the bottom, our Page Turners Summer Reading Program wraps up. The Page Turners Adult Summer Reading Program came to an end after running for the months of June, July, and August. Info Services Librarian Lev Kalman and Info Services Advisor Sherry Tater delivered the program to the community. Over the course of 3 months, 281 adults registered for the program. Each month, participants completed activities to earn a badge, who were then entered into a raffle for a gift card at a local restaurant. Final tallies for the program were 1,196 total activities completed and 184 badges earned. Then,
Which one of them is kidding like things on board.
What's that?
I wish I would have been to the kitty land.
Oh, I went to it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Then skip a couple pages, an afternoon with the Shed Aquarium Sea Otters. The Shed Aquarium joined Arlington Heights Memorial Library to offer a hosted behind-the-scenes virtual sea otter encounter. 143 customers of all ages enjoyed the exclusive virtual access. Sea otters Cooper, Watson, Luna, and Yuka swam, trained, enjoyed snacks, and played with toys. The Shed team shared sea otter trivia and how attendees can get involved with helping sea otters and other marine wildlife, and our customer feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Love to keep them there. Then on August 18th, it marked the third installment of this year's long partnership series exploring seminal albums in our 33 1/3 classic albums. DeVoe's Freedom of Choice with Eddie Nagy. 56 customers attended the virtual event with music and culture writer Eddie Nagy. Eddie discussed the significance of DeVoe's first and unexpected popular record with moderator and programs and exhibits manager Jennifer Chaika. Evie shared brief readings which highlighted her deep research on the topic, the structure of her book, and her time spent with the band members. The conversation explored DeVoe's origin as artist, cultural elements that led to the album's success, MTV and his role in launching DeVoe's fame with the Whip It video, and more. This was the liveliest and most participatory 33 1/3 classic album session yet, building a community of music lovers across Addison, Arlington Heights, Glenview, and Northbrook communities.
Aretha Franklin, I think, was the first one. The second one was. Can't remember the second one was. I think this is a different crowd for Devo.
It's Devo.
Devo, yeah, Devo.
You're too young.
I guess so.
I just want to say I saw Devo live twice.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay, then on the next page are summer reading 2021 for your services. So your services 2021 summer reading challenge encourage customers ages 0 to grade 12 to read and learn this summer to earn free books and various prizes. Following the style of many games, 1,590 youth joined the reading program and leveled up throughout the summer. Reading 500 minutes, 466 participants completed the program and earned a free book at level 1. Participants completed level 2 by reading 1,000 minutes. 299 readers were awarded a second free book, and 199 young readers were motivated to go all the way and hit the 1,500 minute mark, finishing level 3. Using Beanstack's online platform, youth services staff compiled and shared age-appropriate activities for young customers to complete alongside their reading to inspire exploration and learning. Customers shared photos of their experiences for the library's online summer reading challenge gallery. Then at the bottom of that page, Storytime in the Park, responding to the pandemic's impact on in-person story times, Bookmobile and youth services staff expanded the Storytime in the Park series by 2 months. Running from May through August, staff developed and delivered 30 story times and engaged 2,233 customers. A mother with her preschools expressed that it was one of the highlights of their summer to enjoy the stories and music with other parents and children. Okay, next page. The 15th Annual Teen Film Fest. We had a lot of big things this month. Okay. Partnering with the Arlington Heights Park District, this year's Teen Film Fest was presented outside of Recreation Park as part of the Movies in the Park series. A hybrid version was offered with a primarily pre-recorded event with opportunities for audience participation built in. Facilitated by teen librarian Evan Mather, the pre-recorded film fest featured returning judges, YouTuber and film reviewer Tamara Chambers, and documentary filmmaker and former filmmaker in residence Matt Lauterbach, and the library's teen filmmakers. Graphic designer Stephanie Batista created a full-length recording of Teen Film Fest 2021, including the amazing trailer, which can be viewed on the Hub's YouTube channel.
Time is now 7:30. The library will be closed in 30 minutes. Please use this time to check out your items and finish using the computers and equipment. Please return all library laptop computers to the tech help desk at this time. Thank you.
On Friday, August 13th, youth services staff screened the recording for 75 attendees with the complimentary activities, including activity sheets, outdoor games, and a photo op station complete with red carpet and film fest backdrop. 6 awards were handed out: Best Acting, Best Special Effects, Best Camera Work and Editing, Best Screenplay and Story, Best Overall, and Audience Favorite, based on attendee votes. It was an amazing event and a great opportunity to showcase the amazing creativity and talent of our teams and our community. Okay, next page, toward the bottom there, under professional development, our bookmobile supervisor, Terry Scallon, and material handling supervisor, Matt Williams, participated in a webinar, Autism Spectrum Disorder and the Library, which provided great insight into sensory overload for all ages and adjustments the library can make for customers and staff. Our info services librarian, Bob Calmans, completed the ALA e-course Business Outreach for the Public Librarian. The 4-week course focuses on services for the local business community, providing valuable insight into the specifics of outreach. And on the last page, a representative from the vendor of the Epilogue Mini 24 60-watt laser engraver provided training to Makerspace staff, all Makerspace staff and digital services staff, Chris Smith, Jack Bauer, and David Oliver spent 2 hours with the expert going over best practices, safety, and maintenance tips for the sure to be popular laser.
I got a question. And this probably came up in another meeting, I just didn't remember. On the Makerspace, are staff making things for people? If, you know, they send the, you know,
Like they send a job. And
they send the job in and, you know, it's done on a 3D printer and then they pick it up. Are we doing that?
Yeah, in most cases, yes. The 3D printers, I believe the laser cutter are like that. But I think the CNC, the vacuum former, the scanner, and the Cricut are self-service.
I think we should drop off material on a pattern and someone could make a dress. Then you pick it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Full service.
And then we're charging for the materials on that, or?
Correct.
Yeah, and I know we went through that.
Yeah, so we have a price list that's available on our website, and
Yeah.
we have a paper handout over at the space.
Yeah,
I just want to say that this is amazing, all the wonderful things that happened in August. And I think, you know, it shows you being nimble with the Delta variant coming back and things closing up a little bit. And I'm thinking particularly when I'm reading about the story times in the park, and I know that so many people's introductions to the library and they're so well attended. And, you know, I'm just wondering if maybe, you know, there's going to be a great weather day, thinking of the spring, it's probably too late for this year, maybe like in April of, I don't know, is there any way to, if we know it's going to be an unseasonably beautiful week, to say, you know what, this Friday, all of our classes are going to be at the park so that we can include more people?
You know what, I'm gonna let Trixie speak to that, because I know there's a lot of prep that goes into preparing for these things, but Trixie, if you want to comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the park would be open to it, and of course, other partners would have to ensure that's okay with them. What's great about the crew that goes out for story time in the park, they're actually our outreach staff. So during the school year, they're typically busy doing school visits.
Gotcha.
You know, we have our regular story times that we're not doing.
Yeah. I just think it's, I mean, and we're so lucky that we're near the park too, like it's not far away, so all the things that you've done in the park from yoga to, you know, when this happens, have just been awesome. So I guess I would just encourage you to think about that. If, you know, who knows what spring's gonna look like, but anytime we can use outdoor space, I think probably potentially reach more people. But awesome, this is really terrific.
Very good. Anything else?
That's it for the main director's report, but I would like to invite our collection services manager, Lisa Bavis, and our collection supervisor, Cindy Hammond, to present details on the collection services department.
Greg, before they go into their presentation, may I make a couple of observations?
Yeah, sure. Go, John.
Yeah, it's real quick. If you go to page 12 and 13, it's the dashboard. And what's really fascinating is if you look month over month, the circulation numbers are flipping from where we were a year ago. That is, the circulation for print and audio visual are up, and ILL and others are up, whereas the downloadables have decreased slightly. And when you look at the library visits, the main library, the bookmobile are up, the drive up is down. All those, you go to the program attendance, it's similar. All those things that Mike and his team put into place a year ago that proved to be extraordinarily popular, we're now seeing the traction come back in terms of the more traditional use of the library.
Ooh, very good. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'll turn it over now to Lisa Ballas and Cindy Hunter.
And I was going to say the video that you made was really, really good.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
very, very informative, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Pull this up. All right, well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. As Mike said, my name is Lisa Ballas, and I'm the Collection Services Manager. And this is Cindy Hammond, she's the Collection Supervisor. I don't know, well, we just talked about the video, but if you haven't had a chance to watch the video, just to review, Collection Services staff is responsible for selecting, ordering, cataloging, and processing all of the items in our collection. And our goal is to create a collection that amazes our customers by providing the best books, movies, music, games, and more as quickly as possible. And we also handle interlibrary loan requests for items outside of Lincoln. So tonight we're going to cover 3 of the changes that have been made in the last 3 years in 3 different areas: the physical collection, e-content collection, and then the budget. And then we'll talk about a few things that are coming next. We're going to start with the physical collection. In response to both circulation trends and the pandemic, Collection Services continues to focus on providing materials and services to our customers in unique ways. New collections were added, collections were moved, and customer access to the collection was improved both online and in the library. We will continue to have our regular collections like fiction for all ages and nonfiction too, but we also add or remove collections according to our customers' changing needs and wants. So let's review some of the changes. We improved access to the collection online with the creation of the Explore the Collection page on our website, which also includes a featured collection that changes monthly. This was a project of the Circuit Like It's Hot Working Group, which was formed in January 2020 to help increase circulation. When the page debuted, it was regularly in the top 25 of pages visited, and now it's in the top 30. We increased publicity of the collection with a spotlight feature in the newsletter in collaboration with Info Services staff. And this is where we highlight a collection or highlight titles with a theme. So 2 such features were a spotlight on romance fiction in the February newsletter, and then a spotlight on graphic novels. We also increased social media postings about the collection, and these posts cover our binge boxes and items in our library of things, but these have also gotten a lot of likes. In January 2020, we redesigned the marketplace and renamed it New and Popular. And there was confusion over the name Marketplace as customers thought it was a place to buy things. So we renamed it to New and Popular to better reflect what the items are. In the redesign, we moved fiction genres to the front. We added a hotfix collection, which, as Cindy's showing, are the most popular in-demand books and movies, and they're not holdable or renewable, so that the popular titles are always available in the library. We removed some of the lower circulating categories like tech and travel. And we merged the suspense category with mystery and fiction to match the genres in the stacks. So what were the results of the redesign? For the new and popular area, the percentage checked out for 2021 is higher, on average between 40 and 50% for most months than in 2019, when it was 30 to 45%. And interestingly enough, July 2021 is 13.4% higher than July of 2019. And August 2021 is 20.54 higher than August 2019, which is impressive considering we were in the fall and the winter of the pandemic.
This is only the New and Popular? Yeah. I love that.
I do too, because like, I always think a book's gone, and actually, if you just come here, you get it.
Yeah. We moved the teen graphic novels out of the hub in November of 2020. And you can see how the circs increased with the red line showing for 2021, showing 20 to 30% of the collection checked out for most of 2021. And this is an average of 8.32 increase in percentage checked out from 2019 to 2021. So just moving them out of the hub into the area right outside, the circulation really increased. To create more grab-and-go collections, working with info services staff, we added 2 more display units. Info staff keep statistics on displays and report very good usage of the displays. In 6 months, the read, watch, and listen display generated 648 serves. We also added slanted shelves to the large print collection for more face-out titles. And as a result, the percentage checked out for most months of 2021 is higher than in 2019. We added several new collections, and Cindy is going to be my Vanna here showing off the collections. One example is the binge box collection, which are 5 to 6 movies in one set, which makes it easier for customers to take one movie, one item with multiple movies in it. And they have really fun themes, like Dude, Where's My Comedy? And then, of course, our library of things. We added that in 2019, and it's incredibly popular. In fact, it's hard to weed because almost everything circulates. It started with 115 items in the collection, and it's grown to 468, and 50% of the collection is checked out at any given time. And then we added other new collections to meet our customers' need. We added the Teen College Prep Collection, which is a one-stop shop to help teens prepare for college. We added playaways for kids, and these are audiobooks that are on one device. And this is because most children don't have access to devices on which to stream audiobooks or even know what a CD player is. These are very popular, with almost all the titles being checked out within the first 2 days of going out on the floor. We added the parenting collection in Kids World. We also added the early learning kits, which are these adorable things in backpacks. They're with a theme. These are also very popular. Almost all were checked out within the first 2 days. We added a fantasy collection and then a Hindi collection. And now Cindy is going to talk about e-content.
Can I ask a question? Do we, like, what is the population of Hindu speakers or Hindi, like, of Arlingtonites? I'm just curious. I'm assuming that's why you added it.
We added it because for several years it was actually a request for our customers. And there was conversation about which language to add, but Hindi seemed to be the one that people were asking for. So that's why we added it. So
potentially, if that's a good thing, then we might add another language.
Yep.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me here today. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about our e-content collection. As you can imagine, in 2020, we saw a huge shift in how customers interact with our collections, and digital became more important than ever. We saw an increase in e-content checkouts and unique users to our platform. And this shows a chart of our unique users. How we count unique users on our digital platforms is each person who interacts with the platform by checking out an item or placing more counts as one. So if I check out one item and Lisa checks out 10, we each only count as one, so we can count each individual interacting with us digitally. And as you can see on the chart, unique users really spiked in 2020, particularly during that first closure time between March and June. However, what is very exciting about this number is as we move into the 2021 timeframe, we're seeing our monthly unique users interacting with our digital items higher in 2021 than 2019, showing that some of that digital traction we gained in 2020 will continue to. And we see sort of that same trend when we look at ebooks, that the ebook checkouts are up. And our ebook checkouts, as you can see, significantly spiked in 2020. However, our 2021 projections, and this is a full year projection for 2021, our ebook checkouts are still up over our 2019 numbers, showing increased engagement. And e-audio follows a similar trend, and that it saw a dramatic increase in 2020. However, what's really interesting about the e-audio is not only do our numbers significantly outpace 2019.
Good evening. Time is now 7:45. The library will be closing. Please check out your items. Complete your printing. All computers will be turned off and closing. Thank you.
We are currently on pace with our cloud library ebooks this year to beat the 2020 numbers, showing that our engagement is continuing to grow in this platform. And so over 2020, we worked really hard as a department to ensure that we were providing the best access and customer service, especially during the closure. And some ways that we improved our digital access for customers during those closures were upgrading our e-magazine package. We expanded the number of e-magazines we had, allowing customers to access them digitally and remotely. Collection librarians created feature shelves within Cloud Library for immediate access. So we curated content within Cloud Library, and the collection librarians would check these shelves frequently, multiple times a week, and take off items that had checked out and replace them with items that were ready to be checked out right away to provide for immediate service or immediate access and superior customer service. In Hoopla, we did increase the number of checkouts from 10 to 20, doubling the access for our customers during the initial closure. And we also, collection librarians created lists of curated content within Hoopla to better feature our collection and provide customers that special HTML touch for your posts. And so, as you can imagine, with all of these extra checkouts and engagements in digital platforms, we've had to make some budget adjustments as far as the format goes. I think our AV appropriations are a really great way to help us visualize the shift in content. So think about these AV appropriations. Physical AV is things like music CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, things you can touch. Digital AV is things like the audiobooks, streaming movies, AV things that you can't necessarily touch. And so when you look at our physical AV appropriations, they have gone down each year from 2019 to our proposed 2022 budget. Conversely, however, our digital AV appropriations have gone up each year since 2019 up to 2022, showing that change. And we'll,
Can I ask one question on that? Absolutely. Am I right that in the digital, since it's coming through, Hoopla, it's coming through, that's still on a per use basis that it costs? Are we paying a one-time fee and tipping as much as they want? Does that make sense?
it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So Hoopla is a pay-per-use service. So every time someone hits the borrow button, we pay whatever that pay-per-use is. Usually somewhere between 50 cents and $3. Cloud Library, the majority of it is we purchase similar to like a physical book. We would pay $60 for an ebook, and then we get 26 checkouts or whatever the digital rights are. We do also have some pay-per-use titles through Cloud Library, and we do that as a way to really expand what we can offer to customers. So it's a little bit of everything there.
I just want to say, I think what the board would find very interesting is to share the report that Hoopla gives the library. I know our board is very impressed by that because it shows how much we paid, but how much content was available to our users. So, whatever, I mean, and it's a fraction, and maybe you've got that there,
Yeah.
and it's huge.
Well, I'm really impressed that you guys curate. Like, I always assumed that Hoopla or Cloud Library did when you get like, if you like this book, you might like these or whatever. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so with Hoopla, our most curated lists, essentially what is in Hoopla is in Hoopla.
Right.
But we went through and created lists that we have heard that customers were interested in. One of the ones that was really, really popular at the beginning of the pandemic was a book discussion list, because book clubs wanted to continue to meet, but they had no way to get 20 copies from the library in March of 2020. And everyone was trying to figure out life at that point. So we put together a list of here are titles that we would recommend as really discussable, really interesting titles on Hoopla. So if every one of your book discussion members has their own text card, they can all check out the book simultaneously. Because Hoopla's pay-per-use, we would pay
Right.
each one.
Some people might not even live in Arlington Heights, so their library. What about, like, you're talking about digital AV. So because of Spotify and, all of that, are fewer people checking out or downloading or whatever music?
Yes, I can pull up the numbers exactly, but what we've really seen in digital AV is music is not our top thing, not even by a long shot, but I think that's why we're seeing e-audiobooks, as you saw on this here, the chart beforehand, where for e-audiobooks are projected to be above 2020 numbers. And I think that's because we're seeing, like, with music, we've got Spotify and YouTube and a lot of free alternative options, whereas with e-audiobooks, your options are kind of pay a lot of money or use the library.
Right. Well, and people are either walking or taking road trips when they used to take shorter flights. I mean, I know a lot of people that just walk their dogs to audiobooks all the time.
Don't worry about having
Yeah.
full points to go that sure for right now, but I think Carol's point, it would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, we can get that.
Just to kind of get an idea.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. So I had the same question as Greg with regard to the contracts with the e-media content. So it sounds like it just depends. Do you know if we get any, I guess for lack of a better phrase, like a bulk rate? Like if you hit a certain threshold that there's a less, the charge is decreased?
Not for most
Not for most
popular
services,
books. There are some services, I think Gale does it for like reference books. But in general, we're paying full price for everything we're buying.
And then, oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, no, thank you. No, and then is there any way, and so you can see how based on how many people, how many audio or any content are borrowed, but there is really no necessarily tracking for how many are actually read, because can people just like click borrow, and then that's that?
It's the same thing. If you check out a book, we don't know that you read it.
Right.
It's always the same thing, yeah.
Right, got it. Okay, thank you.
To answer your question about, I've got the whole hoopla, but we, this year so far have had 59,940 circulations. Our average cost per circ is $1.80. Most libraries. And our most popular format is kind of depending on the month, the audiobooks or ebooks.
But I meant, they'll give you what we pay and what is the dollar amount of access. Because it's a huge database.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very, very cost effective. So I think that's what the board would be interested in. You know, Hoopla gives that, you know, every year they'll do that.
Our Hoopla rep says that our library is not like any other library in our Hoopla usage. Like they look at our numbers, they're like, no library is meeting those numbers that you guys are meeting. Our customers really like them. So.
I think this is where we were. So this is why I particularly really like looking at the AV appropriations to kind of understand the digital transition, is that in 2019, our physical AV appropriations were almost exactly double that of our digital AV appropriations. However, by 2022, our digital AV appropriations are $70,000 higher than our physical, and this is really being driven by our customers and their increased engagement with our digital platforms. And leading the way in that appropriation is that we had a 183% increase in appropriations for cloud library ebooks from 2019 to 2022. Our customers love our ebooks and we love serving them through that.
I think if you look at the total cost there between 2022 and 2019, that's about 500,000. I think if you look at 2019, the one before that, I think it was less than that combined. So to show you how much more popular this whole platform is becoming.
Exactly. And what's really exciting about seeing these ebook transitions is that looking at our ebook appropriations. So we're seeing the same trends in appropriation spending and checkouts in our print books. However, we're spending more in ebooks each year from 2019, and we're expecting that trend to continue into 2022. However, even though we are spending more money on ebooks, we're becoming more financially efficient with our cloud library ebook usage, and that's due to increased usage. So you can see right here, this is our ebook cost per circulation in cloud library. In 2019, it was $2.21. By 2020, it was $1.54. So we have spent more money, but we've seen a 67-cent drop in that per checkout rate.
Good evening. Time is now 7:55. The library will be closing in 5 minutes. Please check out your items now. All computers and equipment will be turned off and closing. Thank you.
And a good way to think about cost per circulation is that if we were to buy a $60 ebook and that checks out 3 times, that costs the library $20 per checkout. That's not great for us. If we buy that same $60 ebook and it checks out 20 times, it costs the library $3 per checkout. So as we see increased usage, we can see increased efficiency. So even though we are spending more, we've increased our fiscal efficiency and responsibility for our customers. And speaking of fiscal responsibility, Lisa's going to talk a little bit more about the budget.
right, thanks, Cindy. So for the 2022 budget, we evaluated spending and usage from 2019 to 2021 to determine the appropriations for 2022. So we reduced the book and AV budget lines by 4% for 2022, and some of the changes include, we reduced the physical print line by 9%. We increased the digital ebook line by 11%. We reduced the physical AV line by 4% and increased the cloud library audio line by 25%. We reduced the processing supply line, which is the budget for stickers and covers for books and things like that, by 33%. And so by doing this, we were able to reduce the overall department budget by 3% or almost $48,000.
That's interesting, since the book, the price going down, the peripheral.
So,
All right, so we talked about a lot of numbers tonight. So to bring this all into a little bit of perspective, there are some collection statistics that we can use to provide some insight. So one report we run each month is called the snapshot. And this report looks at the number of items in each collection, the number of items in each collection that are checked out at that time, and the percentage of individual collections that are checked out as well as the whole. So this essentially provides a snapshot of collections as well as great comparable data for us. So this chart is hard to read, but if we look at it this way, since June of this year, the percentage of items out is going up and hitting similar benchmarks as we saw in 2019 and 2020, and sometimes even in those prior years. Percentage out is a really helpful statistic to view the health and usage of particular collections, which can supplement overall circulation. And what we can see on this chart is that sometimes when circulation goes down, but percentage checked out goes up or stays steady, we see that there's still strong collection usage. And we compare that with the physical collection size. And when we combine that with percentage out, we can get some insight into other circulation numbers. So what may not be a surprise to most of us is that our physical collection size is trending downward from 2017 to 2021. We saw approximate 13% reduction in our physical collection over those 5 years, leaving less to circulate. However, what's really important when we look at the percentage of items checked out, it can create a better apples to apples comparison when comparing the collections longitudinally. And conversely, digital collection size is up. Our digital collection has trended upward during that same 5-year span. In 2017, we had about 620,000 items. And now we're about at approximately 1 million. And there's 2 main reasons for this. One is our investment in e-content, as we've talked about before. And the other main reason is we have increased the amount of digital content that we catalog, which increases findability and access for our customers.
So what's next? We are continually looking for ways, more and better ways to exceed our customers' expectations of the collection of the library. And we have these projects planned for the future. The debut of the accessibility support collection, and I know Trixie talked about that last month, so I'm not going to cover that again. We are working with one of our vendors to begin the process of the diversity audit of our print collection. So they analyze our collection, will provide diverse headings to our bid records, and you can see some of the headings that they will provide, including things like Asian interest, Latinx interest, mental health, multicultural, neuro, and physical diversity. We will be adding new software to our collection tool belt with Collection HQ, which will help us better analyze the usage of our collection to better serve our customers. Collection HQ will provide efficient reporting that will help save time in collection management activities. It will provide a very granular insight into how collections are performing, allowing selectors to get a good understanding of the supply and demand balance. And it will increase fiscal responsibility by identifying areas and items that we should purchase more of or less of more quickly and efficiently.
The library is now will reopen tomorrow at 9 a.m. with our director opening at 8 a.m. Thank you for visiting the Memorial Library.
We will be adding a while you wait feature for the catalog. It's coming soon. And this is a service provided by Novelist and will provide a list of similar titles in the catalog for items currently checked out to guide customers to titles they can check out immediately. So in this example, this Defending Jacob is currently checked out. And that red bar that says while you wait appears. And when you click on that, you get the 5 titles suggested below. And those are all available. So it's not going to give you any title that you can't come check out right away. Longer term, we do anticipate changes to the physical collection. We are seeing changes to music CDs as streaming services are increasingly being used, and less titles are even coming out on CD. Audiobooks were the most noticeable change in circulation due to the pandemic. Customers streamed more than ever before. And with more cars not having CD players, we think this collection may be sunsetted in the next 5 to 7 years. All right, so on behalf of Cindy and myself, I'd like to thank you for having us here tonight. Do you have any questions for us?
I do. So thank you very much. Obviously, a collection is spectacular. And you do take a lot into consideration for each media that you bring into the library. One question or comment that I feel like I get the most just from community members is an awareness of not losing print material. So, and it sounds like, that's in everything, like we have this print, and the data is showing that e-content is there and the budget is going towards that. The reason I brought up the question regarding the checkout or the borrow translating to, read content is just that if people do borrow, just click borrow, that is just a consideration in the numbers that it could just put a variance in as looking like checkouts are higher, and I could have easily considered that. So I guess I just feel in doing my due diligence, just to awareness that as much as e-content is so beneficial to so many abilities as well, to not be able to physically get here, that just that we that there are a lot of print lovers out there too.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, though.
Thank you.
Well, I love that giving suggestions for when a book's out. That's going to be really interesting to see if people use the suggestions and how they use them. And I love that.
Yeah,
That's really
excited
cool.
about that.
Greg, if I may.
Yep, John.
I think this is a fantastic use of data and analytics in making informed decisions on an executive level. You just deserve a tremendous amount of credit for the time and research you put into this presentation, but also how it reflects on the way in which you run your shop. And I personally feel so much more confident in our collections as a result of your presentation this evening because of your use of the data and the analytics and how you showed you use that to make informed decisions. Thanks very much for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Collections is one of those areas where it amazes me because I'm trying to figure out what was it in the video? Was it 5,000 a month?
Yeah.
New titles come in. Now, is that included on E? Or
No, that's just what we touched.
That's just okay, it's 5,000 people a month. Okay, that just kind of blew my mind when I saw that number. And how you figure out exactly what those 5,000 are every month that have to come in. Obviously, there's got to be statistics or something new. I mean, obviously, you know new things are coming through to be able to figure that out. So I would love to, not to do it now, but I'd love to just know how you do that. You know, it's some particular point. And why do I keep forgetting it? Still want to call it Marketplace, new and new and popular. Thank you. And I just love that area. You know, I mean, book I grabbed out of the last month here. You know, that was actually the code break. You know, it was just a fantastic book. I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't seen that. Question, Bill, I do have for you. Diversity audit. Good that we're doing something like that. But when they do that audit, are we benchmarking it against something to know where we need to be?
So we send out our list of ISBN in print collections. And then they send us a report that will say, you have this many titles with this heading or this many titles. So that's going to be our benchmark. And then with Collection HQ, when we get that next year, we can do a diversity audit again. So we'll be able to say, okay, so last year we were this, now we're this, in 3 years, where are we going to be?
Is it being benchmarked though on the Arlington Heights population? Or is it based on kind of like just a general what it should be for libraries?
It does. We get a little bit. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We get a little bit of both. So what's nice is that this product is actually becoming very popular. There are several other area libraries that have told us they're doing it. We will get some data from our vendor that says you have X percentage in this, like, this heading, this is what the average library that they've looked at the data. So not, every library, but every other library they look at, they'll give us like some benchmarks that way. Something we're particularly excited about doing this in 2021 is we're hopeful we're going to get census data, the updated census data soon, so we can benchmark that way as well. Because I'm not a particularly a fan of benchmarking against a 2010 census at this point. Doesn't feel as accurate as we would want to be, but our big benchmark point is this is our starting point. And by having the Collection HQ software, it'll allow us to continually evaluate where we're at to ensure that we're serving our communities.
Yeah, I would personally like to see the results of what comes out of that once it's all completed. Okay, any other questions?
If you ever want to talk about how I'm really bad.
I do. To me, it's like magic, but it's always right.
It is literally my favorite topic. So.
Okay.
Okay, I love your video. You should put it online. I thought I was the only one that like recommended books before you bought them, but clearly I'm not. I'm a little disappointed.
It's funny, because before the pandemic, we were talking about how can we do an open house, not just for staff, but like open it up to customers, and open it up to the board. And then obviously the pandemic, where we didn't want to do that, but we really still wanted to do something for staff, because we have new staff and we're in the back, nobody knows what we do.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was nice to put that together. If we did something for the public, it would be a little shorter.
Right. All right.
But yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving on here. We're going to action item 4, adoption of revisions of policy 5.001 hours of service, and now we want to hear that message.
Okay, so I am bringing back to you the memo for moving to more permanent hours, proposed hours of service Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, noon to 6 p.m. This was discussed at the September 13th committee of the whole meeting. The decision to move to those hours are based on the data provided on page 2 of the memo. That's a summary, also in discussions with many of our staff and understanding the usage patterns of the library, both pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and also to help with in-person programming, study room usage availability.
Anybody, we talked about this last week, a lot of questions. Anybody else have any more questions on this? Particular one? Okay. Please, somebody do the motion.
I move the Board of Library Trustees adopt revisions to policy 5.001 hours of service effective October 18th, 2021. The library's hours of service will remain as currently adjusted until that date.
Second, please. Okay. More comments or questions? Okay, this is the roll call on that, please.
Trustee Bella? Yes. Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Samari?
Yes.
Trustee Southwood?
Aye.
President Sick?
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Let's go on to action item 5, approval of 2022 library holiday dates and closing schedule.
Okay, so annually around this time, we bring the next year's library holiday dates and closings. We brought this to the September 13th committee of the whole meeting for discussion. Juneteenth was added as a state and federal holiday in June 2021 and is reflected on the 2022 schedule. We are proposing that the holiday be observed on Sunday, June 19th, with the library remaining open, and it will be a paid holiday similar to how we handle Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, and Veterans Day. So this schedule is pretty similar to what we've provided in the past. This does show 13 holidays as opposed to 12.
I make a motion that the Board of Library Trustees approves the 2022 library holiday dates and closings. As proposed.
Second? Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll keep moving here. And what are we on? We're on action item 6, right? Adoption of revisions to human resource policy holidays.
Okay, since we just approved the closings, we will need to add Juneteenth to our holiday closing, or our full-time holiday policy. So that will add the Juneteenth holiday as our 13th paid holiday. That is the only change to this policy.
I move the Board of Library Trustees adopt revisions to human resource policy holidays.
I second.
Is there no policy number on this particular one?
No, setting check policy.
HR policy? Okay. Any comments or questions on this? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, we'll keep moving on here. We're on to action item 7, approval of 2022 board meeting schedule.
Okay, again, at this time of the year, we bring the Board of Library Trustees scheduled meetings before the board for discussion and approval. We discussed this at the September 13th committee of the whole meeting. The dates, proposed dates were changed based on discussion, and that's what's represented here on the 3rd page of the memo. You have to take any questions, or you guys have discussion on this?
So instead of moving it to that following week, when the Monday falls on a holiday, we're just moving to the next Tuesday. I think one was a Wednesday.
Correct.
Wasn't that correct?
So we did Wednesday, May 4th, Tuesday, July 5th, Tuesday, September 6th, Tuesday, October 25th, and then Tuesday, January 4th. So we kept them all within that same week, but instead of bumping it, we bumped it.
Yeah, kind of.
I move the Board of Library Trustees approves the 2022 Board of Library Trustees meeting schedule.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, we're very good. All right, on the new business, Sir Andy, probably get to you. Item 8, Kids World refresh.
Okay, so one of the things that we've been talking about in the budget prep process is a refresh to our Kids World department. The Kids World had an extensive remodel in 2010, including carpet replacement, relocation of the Kids World desk, expanding and moving the preschool area, creating an IT area, and rearranging the collection. What we're looking to do now is to just update the department with a little bit different layout based on how different usage patterns, adding some more interesting features to attract more people, some restrooms. Well, I don't want to steal Andy's thunder. I'm gonna turn it over, please do it, to Andy Dogan at Williams Architects. We've been working closely with Andy on this, on bringing this to you guys tonight and preparing for our budget. And so we have some preliminary plans. These are preliminary plans, and a lot of the details will be fleshed out as we move through this process. But wanted to give you guys kind of a look as to where we're at with it now, especially as we're going to be voting on the budget. So, Andy.
All right, thank you, Mike. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to continue to work on such wonderful projects with you. Want to thank your staff, especially Trixie and Maria, for their input during this process. And what we've been engaged to do so far in this overall plot process is what we call a master plan. So this is not yet a detailed floor plan where we can identify with great precision where each piece of the collection or each piece of furniture is going to go. It is a roadmap for future development. It lets us think about big picture organization. It lets us think about features, both what I would call hard in terms of construction that we want to add over time, and what I would call soft, like interactive features, furnishings, things of that nature. If you were to take the building and turn it upside down and shake it, it would fall out. So where we are at tonight is just to give you an update of what we've been working on with staff in terms of overall organization, what the first phase of this project would potentially involve, and what the future and future phases would undertake. We have about 23,000 square feet of space in Kids World, if we include the hub and all of the staff area, which is larger than many libraries. So it's a lot of space, and with a lot of space, we really have to be intentional over time in how we address it. Even things like carpet replacements for an entire area that large can add up to big numbers just because of the sheer square footage. So We're looking at being very intentional, addressing areas of highest need and highest engagement in a very prioritized way. So it's a phased plan, as I mentioned. It's really all about improving experiences, improving engagement for your youngest customers and their families, while proactively addressing the things that just need to be done in a building as you move forward. So what we like to do when we talk master plan, big picture, is start to create just a very, very schematic three-dimensional model of the entire area. And this represents the current organization of Kids World. Let's see if my cursor works. Looks like it's a little delayed, but here we go. So we have the entrance right now, which is open to the rest of the library. And as we move into the department, we've got the skylight area with the round seating, the service desk, the Lindsay room, and then shelving for all the various collections dispersed throughout. Great, thank you. And what we're looking at, and then the rest of this, excuse me, I should orient the rest of this before we go there. We also, all of these spaces back here are staff areas. And then this space here is the hub, the teen area. So we'll talk about, in general, overall organization and what would occur in this first initial phase that I believe Mike has brought before you in terms of budgets for 2022. So in terms of proposed organization, this particular image shows not only how we would reorganize the space, but some of the new features that would be part of this initial remodel. The first part of this, when we get to the entrance, we've heard a desire to create a door to Kids World, and we think a glass automatic sliding door would be the safest and most appropriate method to contain the noise that happens within there and promote safety within the area, but still maintain that visibility all the way throughout there. Some of the things about this plan that I think are notable are what are not changing. I should mention that before we got to this point where we're presenting to you tonight, we explored probably 5 or 6 different overall departmental organization concepts with staff. Some of them included completely moving the Lindsay room to another location to see if that did anything for us. Looking at moving a service point. And we ultimately determined that the organization, the placement of those spaces actually does work pretty well. And it makes more sense for us to just start to organize around it and improve those spaces. So the big differences we have as you enter the department, whereas you now currently have your AV collections, we're looking at getting some of the newer collections closer to the entrance to the area, and also introducing a space we're calling the Family Cafe. So a complement to the all ages cafe that's really on the other side of the wall. So moving further into the spaces, we move along. We have a new area dedicated to tweens. We move the AV collections still close to the entrance to keep those more popular things circulating. Keep the sight line very, very active and open from the desk to the entrance and those new areas. And the rest of the plan and the reorganization, I would say, is really about opening things up and creating more flexibility in a couple different ways. In the rest of the department, as you sort of get to the Lindsay room and the desk and turn left, we're looking at a reorganization that would, in general, bring the collections and the shelving to the perimeter of the space so that we really have as much flexible space as possible in the center. One of the trends we see in library planning and design is to really think about spaces where family interactions can take place. And we find that, especially in this era of COVID, where we need to social distance, where we want a lot of flexibility and to move collections towards the outside where it makes sense and get some flexible space for all sorts of things to happen in the center of the space is part of the thoughts. The other thing that I think is a little bit more exciting or interesting in terms of the overall organization is to really start to think about how we can introduce more interactive and engaging elements into the plan and how we can grab your customers' attention with those as you enter. So one of the features of this organization as you enter and as you see through those glass doors is to really focus on interactive elements sort of in the terminus, if you will, of that axis looking into the department. If you actually, if you come down the stairs or if you're sort of on Main Street there, we want to create something that really, we want the entrance to attract attention and we want there to be a goal. So you walk into the department or you look through the doors and you say, what's that? I've got to see it. So looking at it as a draw and bringing interactive elements back there is definitely part of this plan. Other elements of the plan, which we'll go through it real quickly in a little bit more detail, are the addition of a family restroom, so a very large ADA compliant restroom, and then a wellness room for nursing, for quiet, for other purposes. That would be added on to that block right in the middle where we have those existing restrooms. We would also be looking at just some small improvements to the Lindsay room to add some sinks, add a little bit more storage, and replace the carpeting that's in that space with a more messy, a flooring material that's able to take more messy activities. So obviously all of this needs to happen in phases. Large renovations of large amounts of square feet can add up to a lot of money. So everything I just mentioned, those high priority elements are what we're looking at in this first phase that we're preliminarily budgeting between $350,000 and $400,000. That includes the restroom, the wellness room, the entrance, the kids cafe, the tween area, and those interactive areas, as well as some graphic updates, some painting updates, and an alternate for new study rooms in the hub.
So is the hub off of like to the front of that? Like, is the hub not seen here?
Yeah, this is zoomed in a little bit, so the hub is
So that's the-
actually,
that's the.
it's actually about 6 inches below the screen.
Are we, I don't know if you're gonna get to, are we? Oh, we are gonna change the hub, because hub's only what, 8 years old? I think. So we're gonna change to that.
The only thing we're looking at in terms of hub changes at this point is to add a couple dedicated study rooms to that space, which we're hearing is a big need. And in this overall budget, again, we're still at a pretty high level, so I don't have a detailed budget to share tonight. But we think that this would be an element that would be something, if you get positive bids and you like the pricing you get, you could decide to add that along. But we know that that's the most recent thing that the library has done. So this just goes into some of the specific elements. When we talk about doors, what does that mean? Something very glassy, something wide open to just really promote visibility. We'll show you a concept for what that could actually look like here in a few moments. The area for tween and STEM, as we mentioned, just some concept imagery of what these spaces could potentially be like. We have a little bit of a section on interactive features, but looking at something more fun, sort of at that terminus that you can see all the way from the entrance that says, that lets you and your kids say, what's that? I really want to go check that out. And so doing, you see everything else the Kids World has to offer.
Are those stats next to it? To the right of it?
There. And then this graphic just shows some of the other things that happen. Part of what we do with some of the minor renovations we do to the Lindsay room, it gets us a little bit more showcaseable wall space for interactive features that can be part of that ever brighter interactive area. So the goal here, especially with COVID, is to be able to distance these, have things that are switched out, so cleanable, minimize, if not eliminate the number of things that can go in a child's mouth. I've got a 7-year-old and it wasn't that long ago I was dealing with that. So thinking about that with respect to COVID, and then as I mentioned, the updates to the Lindsay room itself for flooring and a sink. Part of what we would like to do, what we're looking at throughout the area, and Kids World already has some of these. There's just more opportunities for interactivity throughout the department with interactive end panels. So there are, we do have these now, but we can certainly repurpose some, but we'd like to supplement them with some other new experiences. And then that cafe zone, just a really bright area at the very entrance that in conjunction with new materials. We wouldn't have too many interactive elements here, but because people are also eating and drinking, but just an area for families to gather, another place for them to be loud with appropriate flooring for having that snack. And then looking at other areas as we get back through the rest of the department for more early childhood activities and opportunities for family engagement. Part of this project would also involve an update to the signage and graphic concept throughout the vinyl graphics that we have started to use as a firm, and you're starting to see in a number of buildings do a really nice job of refreshing and providing a cohesive brand or environment, and that would be part of this budget as well. So all of that we've talked about so far is what we're looking at in phase 1. Future phases for the project may involve, well, quite honestly, anything we didn't get to in phase 1. We know that the library has a separate capital budget for lighting and ceiling replacements that may happen over the next several years. That in conjunction, it would also be a great time to start looking at flooring replacement and carpet replacement along that same time, just because that's all going to get messy at once, and addressing that at the same time could really not only bring value, but freshen up everything at once. And then phase 3 of the project in general, we shouldn't forget about our staff. So we would really get into more details about that staff area, which hasn't been touched in a very long time, and think about how we can better support those who support your customers. So any questions before we get into some of the details and the interactive stuff, which there's always lots of questions about? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the wellness room is an awesome idea. So all the contributions for that idea, especially I think I read somewhere about also an alternative place for people who need a little quiet over sensory needs too. The one thought again with the cafe, I just think of, like, I have 3 children, and I just think of like food, snacks next to new material. But I gotta say, I've been in Kids World for over 12 years and never have I ever had sticky stuff in there. So I don't know how you guys do that and if that's already been considered. It's just, that was, the cafe looks beautiful. I mean, the concept of it too. But just as a, like, you know.
Yeah, that's a great comment. I think we would, it's one of those things where we intentionally have to look at where the collections actually go versus the cafe elements, so that what you just described doesn't happen.
I'm just curious, so do most libraries, or is the trend in libraries to separate with a glass wall the kids area?
It seems that there are quite a few libraries that have entrances to the kids area. In Kids World in particular, the stairs going up are very attractive to kids. And then there's not too far from there, there's stairs going up. So, you know, I think that safety for us is kind of the first thing. And as you're walking either into or out of Kids World, it's just like a giant runway. So you often see just, you know, like little ones taking off.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I can sort of see it both ways.
part of, to me, it feels a little exclusionary, like we have to separate, whereas I feel like the library is a community. But I mean, you guys are the experts, and glass doors, would be welcoming. I don't know. I just, I think intergenerational a little bit is a good thing.
Yeah, if I could jump in on that too, Amy, thanks. I actually had the exact same thought process. I wanted to talk about the doors because it seems like we're excluding the young people from the balance of the library. When if you walk into the library now, you're almost compelled to go back there and see what's happening with the young kids and the families that are back there. And it's really motivating and inspiring to see that. You put a pair of glass doors in front of it, now it feels like you've got a club and you've got to be a member of that club. And there's no way a guy like me would go back there and explore to see what's happening. And I think that would be a loss. I'm also concerned about sight lines. The way you have the glass doors now, there is no sight line between that front desk and those doors. So the people that are actually staffing that half circle front desk can't see those doors. And then the third thing is safety, in the sense that now you've got one way in, one way out, and it's a very narrow one way out. So if there is something that takes place in the kids' world, you've got this, I don't know, you've got to have an exit strategy.
Carol, you have doors, don't you?
Mm-mm.
No doors there?
We have a long gateway, which
Yeah.
leads into the department.
Kind of
Yeah, so
separated.
there's a division, but it is open, and we do have panels, kind of staggered panels, that do give a feeling of its own area, and it was also so, slow kids down, so they weren't running from the front door all the way to the back. But we're looking at doing some remodeling too, so whether what stays there, I'm not sure, but
I think for me, it's a safety issue more than anything, especially in this day and age. John, I'm with you. I like walking back there, and I see what's going on. I do that as a trustee. I'm not quite sure if I was just a private citizen coming in here and I didn't have kids, I would go walking back there. So I don't know.
And I like looking at the kids' books too.
Well, it's not saying, listen, it's not saying that people are going to go back there, that you can't go back there, but I think that's the exception rather than.
Because like a regular person isn't allowed in the hub, right? Like I can't go to the hub.
You can.
I mean, the space is reserved for teams.
Right.
So usually there is a staff person that will, get up and say hello to you and ask if you need some help with something. But even when the graphic novel collection is in there, non-teens kind of use that collection, so they're using the collection.
I love the nursing room or sensory, whatever that is, and the family bathroom. That's awesome. I love the changes to the Lindsay room, interaction. I don't know. I'm not sold on it all.
I will say, as with the kids, I mean, mine are pretty tight to me, but they still wandered, and they, it was a couple moments of like, oh gosh, so I don't know if that's a creative challenge of like balancing that. I like, John has a point too, that is one.
Only one way in and one way out.
Right, but again, those stairs, you guys bring up good points too, like the little, like,
Could we put a doorway in front of the stairs? I mean, that's.
I think with these are all good conversations. I think one thing we have to get to is obviously you have to actually come with some ideas and kind of see. I think hopefully once we see what it looks like, it'll give us more of an idea on that.
Yeah, and
I just want to reinforce, you took away the sight line to the door. If you bring out back your sight lines up, Andy, that half circle desk does not have a sight line to that door. So whatever safety discussion that's taken place,
Kind of, is that what it is now? That's it, because it's not changing though, John, from where that opening is right now.
Right, that's the location of the existing opening. One of the things, this, first of all, this is all fantastic feedback. One of the other things that we actually thought about, that door or no door, one of the things we could do, John, which may actually help with your specific concern, we may decide that we want to push the entrance back a little bit from where it currently is, just to increase the amount of space between the door, if it happens, and the bottom of those stairs. What we also don't want to have happen is people coming down the stairs and accidentally opening the door. I mean, that's solvable, but those are things we'll think about. If we did push that opening back, door or no door, that would only improve the sightline. So that's something we can definitely take a look at.
Can I ask you a couple more before you go on? Sure. I'm not actually 3 questions, but actually 2 questions. No problem. One thing I'm just wondering about with the Lindsay room and putting the sinks in there and all that, we have things kind of like this in the Makerspace already. Is there the necessity? I understand it's in a whole other building, I get that, but is there an absolute necessity for having that type of thing in this building too?
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of their programming is messy, requires a sink. They don't have it. Right now, they have a small sink on the cars with a reservoir and a tank for a drain, just to be able to. You have to pump it. So they've made do, but to move all of that Kids World programming over to Makerspace is not really feasible. And Trixie and Maria, please feel free to speak to that as well.
Yes, it is in terms of like our programming for the Lindsay room versus what we could offer at the Makerspace are significantly different.
Okay.
And I think that, having that, we just do a lot of messy programs. I mean, our families love to come here and, they can, the whole family can be here doing different things. And I think whereas at the Makerspace, you might not be able to have that same level of engagement because it's more specific. And I think having that here and available.
Okay.
Yeah, pulling them into the Kids World area.
We, at Gale Board, we created a program space right off of the Children's Center. It was done right before COVID, so we really even haven't had the opportunity to really use it. We've done a lot of virtual programming in there, but anyway, when this was being designed, the first thing the children's librarian said, we need a sink.
Okay.
And then when we just finished we're just finishing the refresh on our teen center. Number 1, we need a sink. And I thought we were going to have to do portable, but they were able to build a nice pipe to the sink. So yeah, it is, it's makes life a lot easier.
Okay, all right, thanks for that answer. Total collection, do we have any kind of idea, are we going to be changing the total collection with this? I know this is theoretical.
Good question. Right now, we are showing the same amount of shelving as currently exists, but as we go through this process, and especially as we show phases, I think we want to incorporate some information like we heard tonight from collections to show how that would work moving forward if we do adjust any collections.
Okay, and the phases, do we have any kind of hope for timeframe on these?
We would look at doing phase 1 in 2022, phase 2 in 2023, and phase 4 in 2023.
1, 2, and 3. Phase 3 and 5.
3 years.
Right.
3 phases.
Over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
One.
Okay, that's all I have. Sorry, thank you.
I apologize, my laptop is completely dead with the rest of the presentation, but like I'm not sure if you had it, but we had a couple other just quick images of both what some of these things might actually look like conceptually, and then just other examples of some of these interactive features that we're talking about. Nothing needs to be decided at all tonight. This is merely an update. We're here to get feedback and to answer questions and concerns just like this.
Can you send us that presentation?
Absolutely. Do you want, Trixie, do you want to speak to the collection a little bit and reorganization of the collection and how you're doing that? And if you want to join us at the table, you will.
I think as far as the collection, we shared the items, number of items, with Andy so that they could be taken into account. And I think that, what we're thinking is that we wouldn't necessarily reduce the collection at all. We're actually talking about growing, we're adding accessibility collection. So we obviously have to account for that and kind of reorganization. We have thrown some ideas out as far as maybe moving AV and having AV with the adult AV, so everything's all together, and the video games, so everything's all together. Just often we are customers who are looking for items, and we're going to the kids collection, we're going to the adult collection, just because of the nature of those things that they're, I would say more ageless, but you might be using items that are in the kids area. So those are just some ways that we've been trying to think about organizing the collection in order to carve out space for more flexible areas and interactive areas.
And just thinking of the last presentation, while I'm sure, the physical collection of books is going to decrease, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but like in the kids area, especially for like new readers or picture books and all that, like you still need books.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess that you're not gonna lose a whole lot of books.
Yeah,
in
no,
your
even
department.
thinking about like picture books.
Yeah, I mean,
And
and I'm also guessing that those books are treated a little more harshly than other books, so they don't last as long.
Sorry for that delay. I was able to get everything back up. But just a couple, just very, very preliminary images. So what could an entrance, what could a door look like from the outside? Something colorful, something with good branding to draw your eyes in, and even the potential for introducing some vinyl graphics right on the glass itself that are kind of low, just so we don't have any accidents with anybody just running through the glass. But at a higher level, at an eye level, still keeping that wide open. This family cafe idea, the idea of what that could potentially be as you enter off to the side, just being very judicious with some new flooring, some graphics, maybe a couple fun light fixtures and pieces of furniture to keep that activity, keep that mess kind of a little bit more focused and into a specific area. And I think this image does a little bit better of the job of showing relationships between collections and that kind of area. And then finally, if you do have at the end of that access a zone for interactives, what could something like that ever bright, some other wall-mounted interactives and some freestanding interactives, a zone just for that to be very flexible, that grabs attention, that can be all ages, and be very well supervised, since it would be next to the main service point, is just part of the overall concept. So again, just very, very conceptual ideas. Our goal is just to get feedback on overall organization before we get too far into the process, and just talk about the overall phasing and priorities at this point.
Greg?
Yep, John.
Just real quick, the more I think about it, the more I think that the cafe is a bit of an indulgence, and unless there's some really compelling background or compelling reasons for it from the experts, I just am hard pressed to see that as being anything more than an indulgence. And Andy, you mentioned, and I'm kind of thinking about it too. But if you bump back those doors, we sacrifice the cafe, we bump back those doors. Now you have a sightline to those doors, which really makes it more safe.
I'm thinking about like all the children's museums I've taken my kids to, they usually do have a little cafe, which is nice.
Not a museum.
I don't think we need to be like a destination for people to meet for lunch. I mean, I don't know. I could go, I can see both sides of that actually. Because you also feel bad as like you have 3 little kids and somebody needs snack and you don't want to do it in the, you want to be inviting, but I don't, I guess maybe I just wouldn't have too much food here so that like, it's what's in my diaper bag. It's not that I'm gonna go out to lunch with my friend and our kids are gonna run around while we talk. I don't know. I mean, I see both ways, I really do. I understand what you're saying, John.
Yeah, I was just gonna actually ask, you think Carol or Sarah?
I said Sarah. I
Was
said
that-
Sarah. Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
does some.
No, just so the kids were all staff, like, how do you, this, getting more, what made you decide, or not decide, but just really that was a strength, because I know if I've ever done that, it's been like overt, like, here, just don't do anything because you need this now, but, do you find that people, it would just be a quick snack, or do you think people would eat lunch, or what do you think?
I would say that the intention is just a quick snack. So you mentioned that you don't have like state tables or certain things, because we don't allow food.
Yeah,
So,
that's why, that's what I'm
some
saying.
people you have to go to the cafe.
They had to have it, they had to.
We tell our customers that they have to go to the cafe to eat anything, even a snack. And when you have like young ones in tow, it's hard to have to go all the way around that long wall where the program is sat wall.
Right, so I guess what I'm thinking too is as our demographics are changing and we have, English as, not English as a first language, families coming in, that the visual of seeing tables, and it might just readily can't translate to larger, a meal or something. Just that if that is ever a thing, just to think about, but people will not illegally eat food as they should not. And do not.
Well, no, basically, that's what I was going to bring up, the reason for putting it in here, there had to be a reason for it. And we have a little bit different at Gil Board because we have a cafe vendor. And they really want you to purchase food if you're gonna sit there. But we have moms, they bring in a little peanut butter sandwich for their child and, just trying to balance that. So I know we have a different situation going on, but still, I can see, bringing in a sandwich and, a little lunch, if they're over there. I actually, John, really, it's not, what was the word you used? Indulgence. It really isn't indulgence. I see it as a needed thing, because people are gonna eat. And if you want to contain it in one area, maintenance would certainly appreciate that. And it's not messing up the carpet, would be on vinyl, some kind of vinyl flooring, and it would contain it and this, and would be easy enough to move staff over, or customers over to that area. And that's where they could eat, where now if you got to usher them someplace else. Plus, you really don't want them to leave the department. You want them to stay in the department for programs, for, little snacks and stuff like that. So, this doesn't, I think people get in their minds, oh, full-blown cafe. It really is, it's vinyl floor, a few tables. That's it.
That's exactly right. One
Yeah.
of the other things I would add to
Maybe
that-
a water fountain or something.
One of the other things I would add to that as well is that you can really you basically can control the duration of time that people spend there by the type of furniture you choose.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So if
Or even little table signs,
If I may too, I think another consideration is trying to reduce the amount of hours, potential lodgings that go into the department. So having a designated area where people are having snacks, the areas can get wiped down. I don't know if there would be any types of restrictions that would obviously be up to the board to decide. But I think that's another concern, that we have for our families, is that we want to provide a safe place where they can do that.
I think it would fall along the lines of indulgence if there was something that we were taking out to put that in. If there was something that we wanted in
Right, I think this is really, and that's not the case. I think this is a reorganization project between, I think getting a more flexible organization and sort of consolidating open and flexible spaces. There's nothing we lose, and we're able to capture these spaces for these experiences.
Conversation.
So the, Mike, do you want me to go through the interactive things for tonight?
Yeah, if you want to just share a buzz through real quickly. And one of the things with the interactives is, we could be looking to our friends at Foundation to help us find some of these pieces. We thought these might be good elements that we could ask for help with.
Yeah, so part of this too, there's a lot of information here, and we can actually, Mike's got it, so we can all review this later on, but there's just a number of opportunities here, from more simple end panel wall mount interactive elements, such as the ones that you already have that you could supplement, to things that are standalone, multi-user, a little bit more flexible in placement, some more fun things that really get into creativity or maker for your younger customers here at this building. And other standalone elements that can really involve some more experiential play, more like a museum, or like I take my daughter to a Gale board with those kinds of elements.
Would interacting with somebody like the Old Children's Museum, or I don't know, would they be a good resource to help us figure out something there?
Oh, there's plenty of stuff out there.
Yeah.
This is, we could have a day-long workshop about the kinds of things to use.
Yeah.
And that by no means is any of that even close to finalized, but that's part of this discussion, just to show some of the things we've been talking about with staff, elements that promote family engagement, like parent and child workstations for computers. Again, how can we help facilitate family interactions with the space and the furniture? Elements is part of an in-between area that help to define space and create flexibility, like marker boards that help to define space, maker tables, even the possibility to have a smaller mobile service point there when there's something bigger going on. It's just been very successful at other projects that we've worked on, others have worked on. And then looking at some of the interactive stuff, Naperville just put in a very successful interactive floor that's really nothing more than a floor piece and a projector above. It's a lot of fun, and nobody's touching it with their hands, they're touching it with their feet. So ideas like that. And then, as you saw, things like the Everbright, these interactive light displays that really engage. There's different sorts of things out there. These are the most expensive parts of a project, and lots of options for engagement. We like the Everbright, this particular option, just because it doesn't involve pieces that you pull out. It's I think a little bit easier to deal with, but just a number of different options out there, and those will be things that there will be plenty of opportunities to discuss more as we go through the process. So just to kind of circle back to the overall project right now, this first phase, including a limited budget for some of the interactive elements, is tracking between $350,000 and $400,000. Those include professional fees, those include contingencies. We want to make sure we're responsibly budgeting. There is the potential for another Illinois State Library Live and Learn accessibility grant for this project because of the things that we are putting in. And as Mike said, these interactive features provide some donation opportunities. In terms of overall schedule for phase one, we'll continue to work on this master planning, work with staff and keep the board updated. If you do decide to apply for a Live and Learn grant for the accessibility elements, that's due in January. The hearings are usually beginning of March, and you couldn't start construction even if you wanted to, or even award bids until the grant contract is signed, which is usually in April or May. And nobody ever wants to work on a children's department in the summer, I found out. So
Wow.
most likely this is going to be teed up. This phase one would be a fall 22 project that would be completed towards the end of the year. Then future phases, as Mike said, depending on funding, and if it becomes 3 consecutive years or spaced out a little more, that's obviously a future consideration. So lots of stuff tonight. Certainly open to any more questions or concerns you have, but we'll keep working on it.
Does phase one include flooring and lighting?
It would include flooring in the in that cafe area. It would include flooring in the Lindsay room. Lighting would just be very minimal. A couple of those fixtures like you saw at the entrance. We didn't have the budget to do a wholesale replacement of lighting and flooring in this space.
Great.
We do have a separate capital line in our long-range plan for replacement of lighting throughout the library. So it would be ceiling tiles and lighting, so that may happen somewhere along the line. With this one, too.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Exciting.
Yeah, great presentation, thank you. Any more questions? John, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everything. All right, well, we're moving on to other, obviously, say it again, fantastic opening, fantastic with the Makerspace, you know, it's great. Can't wait to get, I stopped by there tonight before I came in here, and you know, just nice to see the passion and people already in there. Really cool. We do have one more opening tomorrow, one more event, I guess I should say, with the Chamber of Commerce.
That's correct.
8 a.m. over there.
8 a.m. at Makerspace, ribbon time with the Chamber of Commerce, the mayor will be there. So if you're available.
Did it open this week for regular hours?
Today was the first.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, and I have some numbers from the other, from Sunday. We had 487 people take tours. We had around 350 waivers signed and 28 library cards issued. That was just for Sunday. And then if we include the Friends, the Foundation, and the neighbor events, we had over 600 people come through over those last those 2 days. So
We got the best weather.
yeah,
right?
yeah, right. That's right.
Tomorrow should be good too, tomorrow morning, I think.
Alrighty, very good. All right, if there is nothing else, we have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.